Probably one of the most anticipated events so far of the trip. So there was a lot of lead up and I didn't really know what to expect, but it was great.
Last night we prepared pretty hard and we got our questions down to about 5 questions that we really wanted to ask him.
Right now I just feel blessed to be in the presence of such an amazing moral hero. I'm happy to say I can just be in the moment and appreciate what opportunities we've been given.
The reason the questions are lined up the way they are is we wanted to find something that would not only serve our needs, but also serve the larger needs, because this will get filmed, it'll get put out, people will see it. And really, for all the people who can't be in the room, we're in the room for them. So we want it to serve not only us, but we want it to serve others. So I want you to enjoy it. It's natural to be a little nervous, but I really want you just to enjoy the moment. You know, be present. We'll see what happens, you know. It's a once in a lifetime deal, you guys.
The 59, I reached India as a refugee. 1 year, government of India arranged my place at Mussoorie. 1 year. Then summer 1960, come here. So now 59 years here. Anyway, refugee, sad, but anyway, become refugee, like the sort of Indian government sort of guest, free. So I can meet the various different kind of people, and philosopher, and religious leaders, and then scientists, then educationists. So I feel become refugee. Anyway,
it's been a blessing in disguise.
As a result of meeting with people from different part of the world. So now I develop full conviction. We all 7 billion human beings are same. We really need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. There are differences always there. Even individual, the ideas, morning and evening, some differences. So there is different language, different culture, including different faith. But all these secondary. The important, we are same human being. We live on this planet. So now today, the global economy and global warming teach us now entire 7 million human beings must work together, isn't it? So in that respect, if may I say so, your president, when he, at the beginning, he mentioned America first. I think as a leader of the leading nation of free world should think global level. Okay, now some questions.
So, Your Holiness, we have a gift for you. You want to show him?
Yes.
Explain to him what you've done.
So, Ethics for the New Millennium has been part of our curriculum for over a decade. So this year in our study, we created a graphic novel called A Snail's Journey, A Path to Long-Lasting Happiness. And it's inspired by your book. And all collectively,
Why you choose this snail?
the snail.
Very
Yes.
slow.
The snail is slow, and the snail is patient.
Oh, Carson. Patience. Patience.
The snail represents each and one of ours journey to happiness.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Too slow.
Too slow, yes.
Well, we're happy now, right?
Yes.
So the snail isn't happy where he is, so he decides to go find happiness. So what we did for each chapter of your book is we took out quotes that resonated with each and every one of us, and we visually represented them through the artists in our class. And we also include student reflections with things that touch us individually. You can see.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Now younger generation who really now begin to pay more attention about our inner value. Otherwise, you see, in 20th century, I think they very sort of, what's the modern education, very much pay attention for external thing, material value. Not pay much attention about our inner world. So that's why, in spite materially highly developed, including science and technology, but these brings more suffering, more problem. So now, only alternative is have to think inside. Everybody, you see, want happiness, joyfulness. Joyfulness, part of mind, not matter. So that must develop within mind. If we, you see, shopping in New York or some big sort of, city, if you express, I want to buy peace of mind, I think people may laugh, or that person's mind is something wrong. So obviously, peace of mind must develop within yourself. For that, now some scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate. There is sufficient reasons. Obviously, 7 billion human beings, we all come from our mother. See, we all received maximum affection from our mother. Without that, we can't survive. And physical development also, you see, at a young age, say, I think at least 2, 3, 4 years, the mother's milk, mother's sort of affection is key factor for proper development of this body, this brain. So that's our life start through compassion. Then, again, as scientists, they say, constant anger, stress, eating our immune system. So, everybody is concerned, healthy body. So, therefore, these days, I'm expressing in kindergarten level, from kindergarten level to university level, in education, we should include, beside hygiene of physical, we must include hygiene of emotion. How to tackle our emotion, destructive emotion, such as anger. I think to children, they don't care what different nationality, different religious faith. So long, play together with smile, Okay. Once we suppose we better education, then we too much emphasis differences. My nation, my nation, their nation, my religion, their religion. This, I feel, something as the new creation of existing modern education, lacking the inner value, like that. So you really is showing genuine interest in this inner value. So now I belong to 20th century. You, most of you, belongs 21st century. So 21st century, I think you same belongs to 20th century. So I think you also. Okay. So now there is a real possibility to develop this 21st century, more peaceful, more compassionate century. Material development. Meanwhile, through training, through awareness about our inner value, then mentally very healthy one, physically also healthy. So then different religion, different nationality is secondary. We too much emphasis secondary level of differences. Then look here, too many problems. Even religion teach us practice of compassion, practice of love. But religion itself now causing division and killing. Very sad. So now we have to work. So these young generation who belongs 21st century. Now like me, belongs 20th century. Now time come rest. It is our duty is to share this generation of 21st century. We notice 20th century, too many violence. First World War, Second World War, including use nuclear weapon. I think a nuclear weapon is, I think, great achievement of scientific sort of research. But that wonderful thing turned destructive. So some people say 20th century, around 200 millions of people killed through violence, through war. Too many. If that amount of the sort of violence, if you create better world, better shape, then we may say, oh, tremendous of violence, but creates better shape of world. That didn't happen. So very beginning of the 21st century, there's still leaders and concerned people, including religious leader, you see the old concept, whenever they find some disagreement, immediately you think how to solve that by force. That's old thinking. Now 21st century, so you should accept people, different sort of views, different ideas, a different culture. We must respect them. If there are some problems, discuss, not use weapon. Talk. Try to find mutually equitable solution. So these days, I'm sort of expressing this 21st century should be century of dialogue, not century of war. So, for me, just to express these words, empty words, not much problem. Now you should implement these things. So more difficult. But there is no other alternative. If present situation remain continuously, I think this 21st century also become miserable century. So there is no other alternative, but you should use human common sense and 가서다 long-sighted way, far-sighted. Many problem. We see too much narrow mind. I want this. And when they find some obstacle, then how to destroy that? That's very short-sighted and thinking narrow-minded. So now some questions.
I'm Sumit, and we know you have supported the idea of secular ethics in education for many years. With the upcoming launch next week of the social, emotional, and ethical learning curriculum, it seems that this is an idea whose time has come. Can you speak about secular ethics in education and why it is so important?
That's the Indian tradition. The reality of India, there are so many different religions, over 3,000 years. So, if the ethics based on religion, then there's a problem. So therefore, secular ethics develop in this country. Whether believe religion or not, or believe this religion or that religion, they're secondary. Important is we should practice the 1,000-year-old Indian tradition, ahimsa, non-violence. Ahimsa must combine with karuna, compassion. So, I think India, because of this, the reality, the moral principle based on religion, then complication there. So, the secular, that I think now today, out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And then suppose 6 billion believer and different tradition. So if this moral principle entirely based on religious belief, then complication there. So secular means just simply, you see, the emphasis, basic human value. Okay, like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Priyanka. In Ethics for the New Millennium, you explain how humans are compassionate by nature and how afflictive emotions work against our ability to be compassionate. If we are naturally inclined as humans to live in harmony, why is it so easy for us to give in to afflictive emotions?
I always blame modern education.
Me too.
Thank you. I found one supporter. Thank you. The existing modern education, I think when Europe, previously education mainly, you see, carried by monastery or nunnery. Then Europe industrialization with development of science, technology, then they found we need separate education institution. So perhaps at that time, quite well balanced. Moral ethics, compassion, these things, the religious monastery or these carry responsibility. The newly developed technology, science, mathematics, and these, then the newly developed education institution take care. Perhaps at that time, quite, I think, well balanced. Now gradually, I think 18th century, then 19th century, I think we too much emphasis about material development and lacking pay attention about our inner value, which all religions carry this inner value. But then people, I think, more education about science. And also, you see, people raise question, religion, or concept of God. So, we Buddhists and also Jains, and also one part of Sangha philosophy, we are quite sinful. We have no concept of God, creator, but rather self-creation. So one occasion, Bishop Tutu, my great friend, spiritual brother, I really respect. Now I really missing him. Too old, cannot come here. I cannot go there. Both now getting older and older. So one occasion, we have sort of serious discussion. When we met, he always teasing me, "You are mischievous Dalai Lama." I respond him, "I consider you mischievous bishop." So we always teasing each other. We really love each other. And then one occasion, I think 3 days serious discussion. Then one occasion, he again teased me. He, as a Christian practitioner, when he die, ready to go heaven, Dalai Lama go some different place. So that means non-believer, so hell. Like that. So therefore, they, because the English are correct. So the ancient Indian tradition, I think, generally speaking, I think very liberal, except different religion. So over 3,000 years in this country, several religions already there. Now modern India, all major world religious traditions live together here. We never heard quarrel. And for example, India is Muslim, Shia and Sunni. I never heard problem. But in Afghanistan, in Iran, or Arab area, Sunni and Shia, it's the same religion, same Allah, same Quran, same sort of 5 days prayer, but small name, different name, Shia and Sunni, killing each other. When we saw these things, I really feel unthinkable. Or religion is the source of the idea of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, these things. Itself become a source of complicated, source of violence, unthinkable. So one of my commitment is try to promote religious harmony. So now all these we, in education, see, if we, so in education field, without touching God or Buddha or Allah, simply human good nature, then when they pay more attention about religion, all religion carry the message of this basic human value. then okay. Like that. So then, next question.
Hi, I'm Kylie. Today, in the midst of so much wealth and privilege, statistics show that young people are suffering from increasing rates of anxiety and depression. What do you think is the cause of this, and what needs to be done to counteract this trend?
Just the other day, I saw one sort of, one TV sort of discussion. Nowadays in America, among the youth, there's too much stress, too much worry, too much competition. So they are lifespan. Oh. So this now clearly shows we should pay more attention about our inner value. So I always blame existing education system, not adequate education of human beings' education. So human beings' sort of value or because of the good quality of a human being is compassion, love. We are social animal. Any social animal, their very existence is love. Like other social animal, the individual animal cannot sort of survive without their community. So we also social animal. So individual, firstly, individual person, you see, for survival, depend on the family. The family, their existence or their survival depend on the community, isn't it? If the community always fighting each other, then the family is very difficult to survive. You see, one of my Indian friend, you see, once told me, in India, people in big cities, there are more cases of suicide. In countryside, much less. The answer, I felt, in countryside, farmers, their sense of community is more sort of alive. When they're working farm work occasionally together, so sense of community there. So one family find some difficulties in their mind, they feel, oh, I can ask some help. In people in big city, salary, and otherwise you see no sense of community. So we are social animal. Therefore, the compassion, loving kindness bring together. Anger, expel. So anger is part of our mind. When we face some problem, sometimes anger useful. But when anger comes, our mind becomes mad. So best part of human brain is the analyze. And without proper analyzation, so your action often become unrealistic. So your wish alone not fulfilled your desire. Method is key thing. For that, you should know the reality. And in order to see the reality, we have to look from various different angles. Strong attachment, strong anger cannot see the different angle, just one angle, and frustration, and too much attachment, like that. So, best human brain, you see, can judge, analyze what's useful, what's harmful, these things, human mind, human brain. For that, our mind more neutral is very important. Too much emotion, we can't utilize that human intelligence properly. Okay? Like that. Next question?
From my understanding, Buddhism teaches that inner peace can be reached by letting go of attachment to material things and attachment to the outcomes of our actions. In Western society, we are taught that it is passion and attachment to outcomes that drive people to be successful. How do we find the motivation to accomplish our goals while keeping a sense of inner peace and non-attachment?
Detach. Detach. I think desire, up to certain sort of level, desire, without desire, you can't survive. Isn't it? No. I often used to say, sometimes, like last night, little disturbance over my sleep. So now today, what my desire is now tonight by sleep. More because of sound sleep. That kind of desire is good for our survival. Isn't it? Now then, desire is the unrealistic desire. Then creates problem. So I think everything, as I mentioned earlier, analyze. One Buddhist master, you see, he explained, or he expressed, when we're passing through some difficulties, analyze the difficulties. If there is a way to overcome that difficulties, then no need to worry, make effort. Through analyze the difficulties, if you cannot overcome, then no use too much worry. I think very practical. Now, for example, my own sort of case, too old, 84-year-old, some problem. No use to complain. Cannot overcome it. It's a nature process. So this, I think, very realistic approach. If there is a way to overcome, then no need too much frustration, make effort. If there is no way to overcome, then no use complain. I think American, small things happen, complain. Even your president seems like that. Thank you. I really enjoy meeting young American and related with education. Really wonderful. You have real opportunity and make effort with the holistic view. Thank you.
It's going to take me a while to process everything, but it's starting to sink in that we actually talked to him and shook his hand and sat with him.
I think meeting with him and getting to be in the same room with him was just so powerful in itself, and such an immense feeling of gratitude is filling my heart right now, and I can't describe how it feels. It's like a great responsibility has been bestowed upon us by one of the greatest spiritual leaders.
When I met young people, I was full of enthusiasm. Then that gives me more hope. Truly. If may I say so, when I meet old people, then some feeling you go first or me go first?
I think if it comes to a vote, I'll go first.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
The younger generation, older people have more experience, share the younger people. And the younger people with vision and realistic effort is to bring this world more happier world.
So now we'll change modern education into human education.
Yes, human education, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We talked a lot about, even before we started asking questions, about what young people can do. And he ended on a note of older people have experience, but young people have a vision. And we have the opportunity to really make change.
He said he wants this century to be a century of dialogue and not a century of war. That really resonated with me. Just talking with people with different backgrounds and cultures is super important.
One of the major themes that the Dalai Lama was talking about was how we could educate the next generation of people to have a more happy, meaningful, peaceful 21st century. One of the greatest moral leaders in our world tell us this was just amazing.
Anytime you come here, most welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.